everyone, welcome to another video, and today we'll be learning about the chain rule. So the chain rule is a relatively straightforward rule in calculus, and this is how it goes. The derivative of f of g of x is equal to the derivative of f of g of x times the derivative of g of x. So let's jump straight into an example. So let's start off with something simple, such as y is equal to the natural log of x to the power of 3. So first thing I want you guys to recognize is that the natural log is the outmost function. Basically what I'm trying to say is that this function engulfs the other function. So basically our f function is going to be the natural log, and our g function is going to be the x to the power of 3. So let's apply this rule. The derivative of y is equal to we have to derive the natural log, which is just 1 over x, and since our x is x to the power of 3, we just simply write it as 1 over x to the power of 3 times the derivative of the inside function, which is x to the power of 3. So in this case, we're going to have the derivative of x to the power of 3, which is 3x to the power of 2. And now we can just simplify, and we're going to get 3x squared over x to the power of 3, or simply put, just 3 over x. And this is our answer for number 1. Now let's think about another pretty easy function. Let's think about f of x is equal to t squared plus 1 over 2t plus 5. This is a t. I know it doesn't look like one, but it is. And all of this to the power of 3. Again, same principle as before. F derivative of x. Our outermost function is something all of this to the power of 3, and these two are kind of our inward function. We're going to have to use the quotient rule for this, but first let's start off differentiate the most outside function. So we can write 3 using the power rule times t squared plus 1 over 2t plus 5. All of this to the power of 2, so we just simply applied the power rule. And now times, we're going to have to differentiate everything that's inside the parentheses using the quotient rule. So I hope you guys know the quotient rule, and this is basically how it goes. We differentiate the top function, which is just 2t, and multiply it by the bottom function, which is just 2t plus 5. And then we subtract, keep the top function, which is t squared plus 1, and then derive the bottom function, which is simply 2. And now we have to divide all of this by the bottom function squared. So we're going to get 2t plus 5 squared. And technically from now on, you're supposed to simplify all of this. Yeah, so you would just simplify all of this, but for our purposes, we're just going to leave it like this, because from now on, it's just basic algebra. But let's do something more challenging, because from now we've been dealing with 2 layers. But now let's do a problem that would involve 3 layers, and it's going to involve some trigonometry. So we're going to have y is equal to sine of natural log of x to the power of 5. This is our function. So first, again, our outermost function is sine. Our second outermost function is natural log. And our most inward function is x to the power of 5. So let's start. The derivative of sine of x is just cosine. But since our x is all of this that's on the inside, this is how we're just going to leave it. Natural log of x to the power of 5. So okay, we got our first layer. Now let's work in the second layer. So again, the derivative of natural log is 1 over x. In this case, we're going to have 1 over x to the power of 5, since this is our x. And now we have to derive the most inward function, which is x to the power of 5, and the derivative of that is just 5x to the power of 4. Now, yeah, again, let's combine all of this as much as it makes sense to do. Times 5x to the 4 over x to the 5, simply just cosine of ln of x to the power of 5 times 5 over x. And yeah, you could put this in front, but for our purposes, we can just leave it like this. Okay, let's do another question. I want to pick a question that's a little more difficult. Okay, so this question will really test you on how well you know your rules. So we're gonna have y is equal to e to the power of square root of 1 minus cosine x. Again, let's identify our functions. Our outermost, first we're gonna have e to the power of x, then we have the square root, and then we have our cosine. So let's start. So again, the derivative of e to the x is just e to the x. And in this case, since our x is just this whole square root, this is simply just goes like this. The square root of 1 minus cosine of x. Okay, we got our first layer. Now our second layer is the square root of 1 minus cosine of x. Just a side note over here, we can write 1 minus cosine of x as 1 minus cosine of x to the power of 1/2. And from now on, we can actually apply our power rule. So the derivative of this is just using the power rule 1/2 times 1 minus cosine of x to the power of negative 1/2. So again, we finished our second layer. We have our last layer to go, which is 1 minus cosine of x. So now we would just have to derive 1 minus cosine of x. The derivative of a constant is always 0, so we're just left with negative cosine of x. The derivative of cosine of x is negative sine of x, so we're going to have negative times negative sine of x, which is just positive sine of x. And basically, this is our answer. Again, we could simplify all of this, and I guess we should simplify, because we never want to have negative square roots. So we can just leave it as sine of x times e to the power of 1 minus cosine x. I should have put the e part in front, but it's okay. Yeah, and then we're gonna have 2 square root of 1 minus cosine of x. Yeah, that would be your answer. So you see, once you get the hang of the rule, it's really not that difficult. Sorry about that. Let's jump right into our last question. So it's g of x equal to the e to the power of x to the power of 2. So again, we're gonna have g derivative of x. Our outermost function is e to the power of all of this, and then we're gonna have x to the power of 2. So again, the derivative of e to the power of x is just e to the power of x. So our first step is simply to leave it as e to the power of x to the power of 2 times the derivative of x squared, which is simply 2x. And we could simplify this by writing it as 2x times e to the power of x squared. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I hope you join me in my next video about the product rule and the quotient rule. Have a great day. Goodbye.